There, it's Professor Smith, and today I'm going to show you how to do your first graphic organizer assignment. Now, the term graphic organizer doesn't always include pictures and maps, but maps is what we're going to do. We're going to stretch the definition here a little bit, and I'm going to show you how to make your own map that looks like the maps in Myron Orfield's book, Metropolitics. You can make a map of the area where you live, and that's going to be your assignment. So let me show you how to do that using a website called Rich Blocks, Poor Blocks. Let me just get my computer here and bring it up. And I'm going to go to richblockspoorblocks.com. See that right there? That's the website. And then you get something that looks like this. Now, you've got a lot of choices here as to where you want to map. So let's start out, for example, with good old Emporia, Kansas. I type in Emporia there, go over here to pick state, and go over here to pick map type, and we're going to do income. I want everybody to go ahead and do income for this one. And search. And what this website can do, it's really pretty neat. It's got a key on it. Kansas median income in 2011 dollars from the poorest, which is deep red, to the wealthiest, which is deep green. And it'll go to your area. So there's Emporia, Kansas right there. Now we can also zoom in over here at the plus sign, just like if you're using Google Maps. And I can zoom in enough to find landmarks on this map. So for example, there's Welch Stadium right there and the National Teachers Hall of Fame. That tells me that we are on the Emporia State University campus. You can also see Wooster Lake right there. So here's Plum Hall where I work right there. And so now I've got my bearings in terms of where we are. This central Emporia census tract is where the university is located. Now I'm going to zoom back out now that I've got my bearings on this map so that I can look at Emporia. You can also scroll around. So I'm going to push the mouse button down and scroll up here. And there's Emporia. And remember that I got oriented earlier, so I know that the Emporia State University campus is right here. So this tells us about the area around where I work in terms of wealth and poverty. So as you can see, ESU is located in central Emporia, a census tract of quite a bit of poverty. If you look down here at the key, the deep red means poverty. And sure enough, Lyon County was recently ranked as one of the poorest counties in Kansas. Over here to our immediate east, as I-35 runs along back toward Kansas City here, we see another high poverty census tract with William Allen White Elementary School right there. To the south, Emporia gets more middle class. If you look at the scale, it's moving more toward the yellowish colors, but it's still a little bit red, so maybe more working class right here. Same thing to the southwest over here. Here's another landmark, Southwest Santa Fe Park and Peter Pan Park right here. And there's 6th Avenue, which is also Highway 50. So we can keep our bearings as to where we are. And then as you can see up in northern Lyon County, north Emporia and north of Emporia, it's actually pretty wealthy. It turns green. It's not the darkest, wealthiest green, but it's still green, green for money. Right up here, there's obviously more wealth around here. There's some green here, directly north of central Emporia. And there's some green right there. That may be a park. I'm not sure if that's a census tract. But it's a little bit, well, it's right in between. It's this yellowish right in between color, middle class, right in here. I think that green, just like Peter Pan Park here, I think that actually may be a park. But Emporia, not a wealthy community. There's a lot of poverty centered around central Emporia where the university is located, and maybe lower middle class incomes down in here, and then to the southeast, southwest, north, and northeast it gets wealthier. The western areas around the city are more middle class. So that gives you an idea of what we can do with Emporia. Maybe you live in a larger metropolitan area. Well, we can do those too. I live in Kansas City. I'm a commuter to my job in Emporia. And of course, Kansas City is a bi-state metropolitan area. We can certainly search that. Here is the Kansas side of the Kansas City metropolitan area. And as we can see, Central City, Kansas, right on the border here with Kansas City, Missouri, a lot of poverty there. Extending to the west along State Avenue, I believe, or Kansas Avenue, and some pockets here. Also some pockets of more middle class areas around in here. And in northwest Kansas City, Kansas, when we get into western Wyandotte County, it's quite a bit wealthier. Out there near the Kansas Speedway, there's I-435 there. It's a developing area, quite a bit wealthier than Central City, Kansas. Then we work our way down into Johnson County, Kansas, and we see a lot of wealth, which is the stereotype of Johnson County. But look at this, it's not all wealth. There's quite a bit of wealth along the border here with Kansas City, Missouri, which we'll take a look at in a minute, by the way. The border's quite wealthy. Here's Prairie Village here, Mission Hills, very wealthy suburb, small wealthy suburb of Westwood, and then we get down into Leawood. But look here, in Overland Park, it's more just middle class. It's not super wealthy. It kind of defies some of the Johnson County stereotypes. It's not uniformly wealthy here. Central Overland Park's more in the middle, even some pockets of a little bit of poverty there. Also in northern northern Johnson County, we see even some poverty here. We can scroll down on our map a little bit, go down toward Olathe. Olathe, again, pretty middle-class community here in the older parts of Olathe. Some wealth, but a lot of middle-class community here, and even a poverty tract, again, going against the Johnson County stereotype. Slight poverty, but then in the southern parts of Olathe, it gets quite a bit wealthier, and then it's quite a bit wealthier out here in Shawnee. Kansas City, of course, a bi-state metropolitan area, so we need to look at Missouri as well. So we're going to keep our Kansas City here, but now we're putting in Missouri. Keep the income, search, and here's what it looks like on the Missouri side. We'll